Namaste, dear children. We are now moving on to learn a new chapter in your supplementary reader in The Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan, a very famous Indian English writer who is able to depict the normal Indian life into writings and thereby helping the readers to realize what really India is, depicting all the social scenarios, all the conditions and the lifestyles and the life circumstances that the real Indians are suffering and going through. So now let's move on to the chapter in The Kingdom of Fools by A.K. Ramanujan. Before moving on to the chapter, you might have heard of this dictum every time it is said, Yatha Raja, Tatha Praja. If the king is good, his governance will be good, he will be just, he will be righteous, he will obey to all the conditions of the people. At the same time, it will be a heaven living in that society. But at the same time, imagine if the king is a fool, who hasn't have a wisdom of his own. And not only the king, rather his ministers are also fool like him. It will be more or less a hell to stay over there. So let's see the poem, see the chapter, the story in The Kingdom of Fools. Okay. So the story begins by saying that the king and his ministers were idiots. The beginning of the chapter is like that there was a king and the minister who were idiots. So if the king is idiot, obviously the whole public will also be more or less an idiot only. Okay. So what was so peculiar that the kingdom is called to be full of people who are foolish enough? The major peculiar thing about this kingdom was that everybody used to sleep in the daytime and they loved darkness. Okay, and they used to work, they used to awake in the night time and they used to do their works in the night. More or less, everything was available in one single dudu. Dudu is the currency that was ongoing at that time when this foolish king used to rule the kingdom of fools. Everything was available for one single dudu. So this was the peculiarity of this kingdom, where everybody used to sleep in the daytime and they used to work during the night. Okay, so let's see what happened next. So at this kingdom, at this strange kingdom, what happens? One guru and his disciple enters. Who is the disciple? The student of that guru or that teacher. Okay, so in that kingdom, guru and the disciple, and for that matter, for their surprise, what happens? In the daytime, they could not see even a single person outside their houses. Everybody was busy sleeping inside their homes. And that was quite strange also. Because as per the wisdom of the guru, everything should be done during the daytime. But contrastingly, everything was opposite. The people used to sleep during the daytime. Even the cattle were trained to do so. And everything was so cheap. The rice, the bananas, the vegetables, everything was available for just one dudu. And one dudu is equivalent to 1 rupee only. Okay. So, it was very strange. Guru felt that something is wrong. But the disciple, on the other hand, he was so happy because it was very easy to stay there, because they didn't need not to spend large amount of money to meet up with their expenses and to live up with their needs. Rather, he could just spend a little amount of money and he was able to get all the things that he actually needed. Soon the disciple, the student, aroused a liking towards this kingdom. The Guru advised him, my dear disciple, don't stay here because I feel that this kingdom is a kingdom of fools. So I believe that they don't say what they do and they don't do what they say. So you cannot expect what they are going to do next. So be careful. But the disciple was not happy by that time. And the disciple said that I am going to stay here because I feel very comfortable here. So he stayed back in that kingdom of fools, having a good food, luxury food, and soon he became a bull, a sacred bull. That means he became so stout, very, very fat. Okay, so this is the first part of the story. What are the further proceedings in the story? One bright day, it happened that a thief came to steal something from a rich merchant's house. Thief came to steal the belongings of a rich merchant. And unfortunately, what happened? While moving away from the house, a wall was there and it fell on his head and he died instantly. Soon the complaints started coming. And who was there to complain? His brother came to the king asking for justice for this thief. And do you know what the brother used to say? That his poor innocent brother thief was establishing his ancient trade. What is that ancient trade? Robbery. He was doing his ancient trade, that suddenly this rich merchant's wall fell on him and he died. So he should be given justice. Yes, it was a murder indeed, according to the brother of his thief. According to the brother, it was a murder by the rich merchant because he was responsible for that wall which was weak enough and it fell on the thief and he died. But the rich merchant said, no, my dear, no, my lord, I am not to be the one to be blamed for this reason, because that wall was built when during my father's time and my father is no more. So I believe that it should not be I who has to be blamed. Rather, he blamed the bricklayer who was responsible to build a weak wall and that fell on the head of the thief. Then the bricklayer was summoned. He was an old man. He even could not walk properly, and the king's bailiffs or the warriors took along this bricklayer, who was an old man now, along with him. Okay, and his hands and feet were tied securely so that he doesn't run. Remember, he is an old man and his feet and hands are tied securely. So from that act itself you can understand how foolish these people were. And the king used to easily imbibe whatever the people are saying. He is not using his own wisdom. Okay, so when the bricklayer was summoned in front of the king and he was asked, were you responsible to build a weak wall and that fell on the head of the thief and that poor thief has to die? So you are the one who is responsible for the wall which you have built in the rich merchant's house. poor bricklayer. And the bricklayer instantly just said something. What did he say? That I was distracted from my work, because when I was busy in my work, I was distracted by the jingling sounds of the anklets of a dancing girl many years back. Okay, I was distracted, I was disturbed by the jingling sounds of the anklets of a dancing girl. So, it is not my mistake, rather it was the dancing girl who actually is responsible for my poor work. So the king absent-mindedly said that I understood that bricklayer is not the one who is responsible for this murder. Rather, dancing girl should be called and should be summoned for the murder of the thief. Okay. So we as commoner, we can understand that how foolish these court people are. They don't realize that the thief, instead he is the culprit, and because he was there to steal something, that's why the wall fell on him, and it is not a matter at all, it was an accident. But still they are searching out for false reasons. So the dancing girl, who was young when this wall was built, but now she is an old woman. She is coming trembling, shivering throughout her body when she enters the court. And the dancing girl was asked, yes, dear lady, do you know this bricklayer? She said yes. Do you remember that he was building a wall when you were roaming here and there with the jingling of your anklets, and that has really created disturbance to this bricklayer, and he has built a weak wall, and that wall has fell on the thief's head, and do you know it was a murder? The court people are asking like that. So the dancing girl thought for a while, and she came out with a new person to be blamed in. And who is that one? Goldsmith. So the dancing girl said, my lord, it is not me who has to be blamed for this murder, because there is one more person who should take the responsibility of this murder. And who is she giving the name? The goldsmith. According to the dancing girl, it was a mistake of the goldsmith that she was made to wander from one place to another in the streets. What was the reason? That she gave some gold to this goldsmith so that she can wear some jewelry. But unfortunately, the goldsmith didn't prepare her jewelry on time. She has to keep on visiting this goldsmith asking for her jewelry. So again, the foolish court people, they asked the goldsmith to come in front of the court. Finally, the goldsmith was, according to the king, goldsmith is the real culprit who has asked this dancing girl come again and again, and she was disturbing the bricklayer, and finally that led to the death of the thief. So the goldsmith also came, and the goldsmith was asked, just give me your explanation to the reason why the dancing girl was again visiting you. And to this, the goldsmith says that I was too busy in my work because one merchant has given him some orders, and he was too busy that he didn't get time to concentrate on making the jewelry for the dancing girl. He said like that. And do you know, surprisingly, the incident which the goldsmith is talking about, the order to which he was making the order for the rich merchant. That rich merchant was this very person. And so what happened? The whole series of blaming end up with the rich merchant who has started all these things. Okay, and finally again the point has come to rich merchant, and the rich merchant said that it was not me who gave the order to this goldsmith, rather it was my father, and my father has died many years ago, so I should be left. But the king had a strange explanation to this, that you are the son of a criminal. He is saying that his father was a criminal indeed, because he has asked this bricklayer to make the wall, and he was responsible for giving the order to the goldsmith also. So he has to be blamed twice. So you are the son of that criminal father. Not only that, if you could hire the wealth of that father, you are responsible to hire the sins also committed by him. So you are also a criminal. According to the king, he declares the rich merchant as the criminal who is responsible for the death of the innocent thief. Okay. So a new stake was produced. Stake is just a sharp edge where the head of the criminal is set just to persecute him, just to execute him. Okay. So a brand new stake was ordered where the persecution was going to happen. The rich merchant was there. Okay. So the rich merchant was summoned and he was asked to put his head on the stake. And unfortunately, what surprisingly happened, when his head was put at the stake, surprisingly, he was too thin that in the stake his head could not fit. Okay. So, and do you know what strange order did the king said? Okay. The king ordered that from that kingdom, whosoever is the most fit one to this stake, he should be summoned and he should be brought in front of the king. So you can very well imagine where the story is going on. Okay, so one person is there who is so fat, and he is the one who could be fit in that stake. Can you recollect who is that person? He had sumptuous food with not many expenses, and he was meeting up with his needs very, very peacefully. And finally, who was that? Can you guess? The disciple who has become like a bull. So, without any blame, without any reason, the disciple was summoned in front of the king. Okay, and in front of the king, he was asked, why I have been produced in front of the court. To this, the ministers and the king is saying that we wanted a person who is befitting to this stake, as the rich merchant is so thin that we cannot persecute him. So now it is your turn. Just put your head there and we will be satisfied by giving justice to the thief. Okay. Now he is just so nervous. He starts shivering. The disciple starts shivering. And the disciple remembers the words of the Guru, that you cannot expect what these fools are going to do next. Okay. So he just recalls the name of the Guru. And the Guru was a blessed person. He had a very supernatural power because he could guess what is going to happen in the future, and he can do what he was a great man. So the Guru instantly, on the call of the disciple, reached the court where these things are going on, and at that time the Guru whispered something in the ears of the disciple. Okay, and what did he say? After saying something, what happened? The Guru started shouting, that I should be the one to be executed in that stake. And disciple said, no, I should be the one. So both of them started fighting. No, I should be the first. I should be the first to be executed in that stake. So the king and the ministers were confused. What are they doing? Why are they happy to die? Something might be there. Okay. So slowly the king asked the guru, what is the matter, that why are you so interested to die? And to this the guru said that, you know, who is greater, the guru or the disciple? And obviously to this question only that king gave a proper answer. What is that? Guru is more prominent, Guru is more supreme. And to this the guru said something nice. You know, in the ears of the king, what did he say? The guru said, my dear lord, you know, the stake which you have used to execute us, it is pure, because before that not even a single criminal's blood has fallen on it. So it is a pure one, and it is the stake of justice. It is the stake of justice itself. So whosoever dies first in that stake, he will reborn as the king. And more or less, whosoever dies after that, he will reborn as the minister. Two things. Okay, so both of them are fighting, and the guru says, I am fed up of that ascetic life. I want to live a life of a king. So I have decided that I will sacrifice my life, and I should be the first one to be executed in the stake of justice. So the king was very, very ambitious towards the throne. He could not accept that his power has been redeeming, or he is just thrown out of the place of the king. He could not accept that. So he thought for a while. The king thought for a while, and he just asked the minister to come have a conversation. And he said everything to the minister, and instantly the minister and the king came up to a conclusion. What is that conclusion? That the present execution has been postponed for tomorrow's night. Okay, for tomorrow's night. And what was the order given to all the executors over there? That whosoever comes in front of you for the first time, we should just come. So the night that followed, the executors were surprised to see that one person has voluntarily come, and he said that you should just execute us. Okay, and followed by the other one. They disguised themselves in the name of the guru and the disciple. They disguised, both the king and the minister disguised, and they came in the place of the guru and the disciple. And finally they were executed. They were persecuted in the stake. And you know what happened the next day, when their bodies were out for the vultures and the eagles? They were so surprised. The whole public was so surprised that they are watching their king and the minister lying down in the ground, dead. Okay, so they needed a king. All of them demanded that we should need a king. To this, the guru and the disciple were the first one to be nominated as the king and the minister. It was very easy to impress the disciple, but at the same time, guru took some time. Okay, finally, anyhow, the public was able to impress both the guru and the disciple to adorn the kingship of the kingdom. Finally, they are there. Okay, so the guru said that I am ready to accept the kingship, but only on one ground. What is that? All the foolish orders and all the foolish legal things should be changed. It should be the normal practice in this world. That old thing that day should be used only for sleeping and night should be the one for doing our work, that has to be changed altogether. More than that, everything cannot be provided in one single to do. So the story ends here. So what all things you can learn about the story? Importance of knowledge, importance of wisdom. More than that, importance of guru. Although foolish people, they will try to establish their own world where their own thoughts, where their own beliefs will prevail, but it will sustain only for a small period of time. It is temporary. Which is more prominent? Knowledge as well as wisdom. This story tells you the importance of knowledge, importance of a great guru. Hope you like the story. Thank you so much. Namaste.